All right, if anyone in the chat can hear me, just push one. All right, thank you for the confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 557. Please hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible, hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, those posted on the community tab. I'm getting ready to post a docket in the description beneath the video for you to follow along with. If you want to engage in the discussion, there'll be a link in the chat for you to click on. When you click on the link, make sure you raise your hand so that one of us can acknowledge you and advance you to the panel. All right, let me drop the link for you all. Let me get the docket. And then we get started. All right. I lost one of the items for the docket. I don't know how I lost it. All right, I got it. So one item that we're missing, Hard Fork Rich actually sent it to us, but I can't find it right now. So what we'll do, we'll just skip that, and then we'll move on to the first item on the docket. And this will be really short. This is not going to be long. All right, first item on the docket is from cointelegraph.com. Opportunities for blockchain-based technologies in African healthcare. Okay. One of the linchpins of the internet is the ability to access and share data seamlessly, whether it's financial metrics for an institution or something as innocuous as a meme. The internet's distinct pathways of protocols and standardization are the ideal medium for exchanging information. The transmissibility of information has not translated well to specific industries, however. Regulatory moats, cumbersome and outdated database architecture and poorly designed user interfaces are a hindrance to major industries, particularly healthcare. Even in the United States, where healthcare standards are high, onerous regulatory processes inhibit the ability of doctors to adequately share patient information across state lines or access sensitive medical data from past care providers. If there's a silver lining to COVID-19, it's that it has induced a long overdue examination of many archaic aspects of the healthcare system. When we apply these lessons to emerging markets such as Africa, the horizon for change coming out of the crisis looks promising. The maximum that every problem is an opportunity in disguise applies aptly to the COVID-19 pandemic and overall healthcare situation in Africa, COVID-19 aside. For context, Africa's healthcare system is overburdened, lacks adequate resources, and does not have a unified approach to its myriad endemic diseases ranging from malaria to HIV, AIDS, and Ebola, where organizations such as the United Nations have taken an active role in bolstering the healthcare system in Africa for decades, but the progress is slow and lacks technological innovation. For example, African countries are making meaningful strides in preventing childhood diseases, with 60% or more of children now immunized for measles, largely the effort of nonprofits and the United Nations. On the contrary, public-private healthcare partnerships remain sparse on the continent, especially with foreign companies. Yet they represent the greatest opportunity for bringing cutting-edge technologies to African medical facilities. In many cases, these technologies can be as simple as mobile diagnosis tools and more developed IT infrastructure. The problem isn't a lack of third-party donations and assistance to the healthcare or system. The same problem that in many hinders innovative tinkering in the developed world, adequate data sharing. For example, telehealth was disparaged by many medical professionals in the US before COVID-19. Now, however, it appears that telehealth is here to stay. Some of the early concerns with telehealth are well-founded, though. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act standards for privacy and security of patient medical data are embedded into hospital practices and procedures, severely limiting the amount of data that can be shared between medical institutions without cumbersome processes. In addition, many major healthcare institutions in the US rely on disparate IT systems, including non-congruent databases for storing and indexing patient data. This has profound consequences on data sharing in the medical community. Some medical providers may even be unwilling to share data for fear of not being able to control who else the data is doled out to from the initial party offered access. In other cases, the incentive for big data modeling using artificial intelligence is reduced since it requires unobstructed access to sensitive clinical data by a technology company, further restricting the internet's capacity to mold medicine for the better. As a consequence, some medical professionals and institutions are exploring blockchain technology in its concomitant class of developments to tackle the data sharing barrier, and its implications presents an enormous opportunity in Africa. Africa's healthcare infrastructure is not as mature as in developed countries like the US, but that may be an advantage. For example, an African medical initiative to build hospitals, research enterprises, and other organizations imbued with blockchain tech like secure multi-party computation and reduce regulatory overhead could unleash the floodgates for medical innovation. In theory, African medical facilities could leapfrog many of the bottlenecks facing Western medical institutions that stem from their entrenched policies and aversion to sharing medical data without myriad regulatory processes. Blockchains are ideal for the secure sharing of sensitive data and can even be imbued with advanced privacy preserving primitives like ZK snarks to further obscure sensitive medical data. While Africa's limited medical infrastructure may have formerly proven an obstacle, when paired with dynamically growing technologies in the blockchain arena, it can catapult to a competitive landscape of innovation. The continent is even showing signs of early access in combating COVID-19, largely drawing from its experience with Ebola. Surveillance has been scaled up rapidly, and face masks and other personal protective equipment, PPE, are commonplace. A South African team has even designed a mesh network COVID-19 tracing app that preserves privacy, a notable departure from the combined efforts of Apple and Google in the US. Injecting Africa's experience with data sharing technology like blockchains would only further bolster the continent's ability to stifle pandemics in their infancy. Imagine the scale of intrigue by foreign scientists, AI firms, and medical professionals into Africa's myriad novel diseases and pathogens. Should the real potential of the internet's data sharing capabilities be realized on the world's fastest growing and most geographically diverse continent. Data on unique diseases plaguing Africans, such as river blindness, could be seamlessly and securely shared between hospitals, clinics, and researchers, enabling real-time improvements in decision-making. Mobile diagnosis could be uploaded to shared blockchain networks in real time, cryptographically secured and passed on to third parties with read access restrictions baked into the patient data. No need to worry about a Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal at the medical level in the African sub-Saharan region. Capital investment would subsequently pour into a region where the regulatory shackles are removed and technology can flourish independently of government mandates. Interestingly, reduced regulatory overhead may be a direct consequence of COVID-19 as we take measure of our failures to respond to the pandemic. If Africa pursues the fusion of low regulatory burdens and blockchain-based healthcare IT systems, the consequence may have an endemic positive impact. Africa and the world needs more nimble technology for disease monitoring, diagnosing, and treatment in the field. The current systems have proven inadequate in the fight against COVID-19, and it's clearly time for some deep introspection. Africa is a fertile hotbed for exploring potential of new technologies in the healthcare sector, but Africans remain firmly skeptical of third-party interference in its healthcare system as well. A murky history of the World Health Organization using Africans for experimental vaccine treatments has eroded trust in foreign aid and even led to novel strain outbreaks of diseases like polio, which have been linked to a mutation in a strain of a vaccine. That's why a more self-sufficient African healthcare system is the ultimate goal and one that blockchains can help realize. All right. I was over there on the continent back in February. We talked about blockchain and healthcare. Okay. Actually, March. I was in Joburg. And what's happening here is that because of the distance to travel from city to city, from major general hospitals to clinics and so on and so forth in some of these areas, you need a car to get from point A to point B in some areas. You can walk, but it's going to take you a long time. And a lot of the roads the sidewalks have not been fully developed. And so because of that, that causes the problem. And so 5G, blockchain, cloud computing, AI, machine learning, IoT, imagine a clinic in a box or in a backpack. Okay, imagine you're a contract healthcare professional or healthcare professional. You're on a bike or something like that, and you have all of the major instruments and applications necessary on your vehicle, right? You think about a motorcycle. Motorcycles are really, really popular on the continent for a reason, because they're cheap, they're affordable in terms of gas and maintenance. So you think about this from a healthcare perspective, a healthcare professional, public healthcare professional. They have all of the necessary IoT equipment. The whole entire bike is one big rolling IoT device. Okay, it has 5G built into it. It has GPS navigation all built into it to go to the next patient's location. And you're pulling out, these sort of tablets. You're able to check for a person for COVID or other common diseases, do the analysis real quick, do the write-up real quick, and send it straight to the cloud where it does all the processing in real time, and then it shoots it back down and gives you the results. That's the sort of digital transformation that they're looking to do over there. And the telehealth aspect with blockchain, with cloud computing, with 5G, with IoT, AI, machine learning, all of that is what comes into play here. So, oh, I see somebody's trying to get in. Oh no. Oh, yeah. And so when I was over there, those are the conversations that they were having. So I'm not surprised at this article, right? I'm not surprised at what's being said here. This is very true. Okay. This is very true. Let me see what people are saying. Yeah, if you want to get on the panel, the link is in the chat. And so that's what I saw when I was over there. Okay, I can refer back to my notes. I have to dig through my Notepad plus to find my notes. I saw all of this type of discussion going on over there. You're even talking about drones dropping off medicine and plasma and things of that nature. So they already have 1/5 of the way is actually of development is already there, right? They got the drones working. You have the physical brick and mortar infrastructure. If you think for a second, how do you take a shipping container that turns it into a portable clinic, and you drop it in multiple locations where people can actually go and get their services met, right? There's not so much as money to be made, but there's innovation to be driven is way how I see it. Okay. So big things are happening. We talked about this before. Blockchain is probably one of the hottest markets right now to get into. All right. This is probably one of the hardest markets to get into. And I can't stress enough that, you guys got to study up on this. That blockchain, not just in healthcare, but in many various markets, are starting to take off. Okay. Starting to take off. So let me jump to the next item, which is the last item. I don't have Victor Dixon's article that he sent about a Raspberry Pi miner, so I'm sorry about that. All right, this is from cointelegraph.com. Blockchain will lead digital globalization, says Wen Xiping rep. Dr. Zhao Feng, the vice chairman of investment company China Huaozhang Holdings, attended the 7th Global Investment and Merger and Acquisition Summit in Shanghai, according to a local news on June 5th. Dr. Zhao's keynote on digital economic reform revealed speculation that globalization will migrate from the physical to the digital world. He believes blockchain and other disruptive technologies will be the tools by which we will realize this digital globalization. He explained that blockchain is a digital trust mechanism. Because of its characteristics of irrevocability, delicability, and immutability, when we move these data to blockchain, these data cannot be tampered with. Okay? At least that's what's alleged. We haven't really seen that yet. Zhao believes that before the pandemic, globalization benefited many people, including China, Wall Street, and multinational companies. However, it also left behind victims such as the middle class and industrial workers in many developed nations. He explained that because the middle class and workers cannot be globalized in economics, it is called non-tradable goods. However, he believes that post-COVID-19 borderless digital globalization will benefit both developing countries and developed countries developed countries. With the help of digital technology, the labor force can be traded from now on. And employees do not need to move from the United States to China, although the industry moves to China. Then there is education. Internet English teaching has turned non-tradable things into tradable things. So they're talking about teaching people to be bilingual has made people more tradable in the market from a goods perspective, or from a labor perspective, sorry. According to Dr. Zhao, digital globalization will impact many companies' organizational management systems, with more companies moving their operations online. The original ways in which companies measure their performance will become less important, and a new goal-setting framework may replace them as the important managerial structure. He says such a framework will be called Objectives and Key Results, or OKR, because we need to do one thing together in different time and space. We need to be transparent and align our goals, so we need OKR tools. He also claims that another impact of digitalization will see businesses undergoing complete overhauls in the way they conduct their practices. He says that the Industrial Revolution has reached the degree of diminishing marginal utility. In economics, the law of diminishing marginal utility states that the marginal utility of a good or a service declines as its available supply increases. Economic actors devote such successive unit of a good or service towards less and less valued ends. So what it sounds like here is that the idea that remote work is going to be the way forward. I mean, everybody knows this. Everybody can see the writing on the wall right now. So even if you do work in manufacturing, if you work in some form of labor setting, there will be a digital function to this, okay? Whether it's how you log your time cards, or how many units are produced, and so on and so forth. There will be some digitalization to this, but from a globalization standpoint, all of that is going to transfer into a one global system where the metric won't be dependent upon your culture of production, but by a global standard set of rules, which is the OKR, okay? Objectives and key results, sorry. And so blockchain is one aspect of fourth industrialization at this point. Cyber connected systems, we talked about this many times before. It's one key aspect, but it's not the total aspect. Now, do you need to learn only blockchain? No. Here's why. You need to learn blockchain because it's one piece of the digital transformation puzzle that needs to go together, okay? What about cloud computing, edge computing? Okay. What about AI and ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning? What about IoT, Internet of Things, industrial IoT, medical IoT, okay, MIoT? These things matter. And so blockchain is just going to be that mechanism for digital transformation, the secure aspect of digital transformation, okay? Where does it ride over though? It's going to ride over that 5G. What is that 5G going to connect you to? It's going to connect you to cloud. It's going to connect you to edge services or edge computing. Okay. What's the physical aspect behind where the data is being produced? Well, it's being produced on IoT, micro transportation, healthcare IoT devices, you know, a lot of your common household goods, smart refrigerators, smart, you know, TVs and smart watches and so on and so forth. All of these things are going to matter. Tablets, okay, tablets that do a lot more than what they do now. All of these things are going to matter in conjunction to blockchain. So you know blockchain, but you didn't know everything else. So blockchain is going to be that one piece of digital transformation that's going to be very important, but not the only aspect that needs to be focused on. Let me see if anybody else is trying to get in. And so that's why this is important. You know, you can find, let me go to EDX and pull this up. All right. We've talked about this before. Lionel has passed this, you know, this certificate right here, this professional certificate from Berkeley. Okay, when you pass this, it actually goes to your LinkedIn account. Okay. Now it says self-paced, so you do it at your own pace. It's 3 months, 3 to 5 hours a week. You really can't beat that. Okay. Most people in the manosphere spend 3 to 5 hours on live streams. Okay. It's $178. You probably super chatted that much in a month to some of your worst content creators in the manosphere. Okay. So be wise with your money going forward and put it into something that's going to have a better return on investment. Okay. You start off with blockchain and cryptocurrencies, 3 to 5 hours a week for 6 weeks, and then blockchain technology here is a same 3 to 5 hours per week, 6 weeks. And the job outlook, you know, blockchain related jobs are the second fastest growing in today's labor market currently, with 14 job openings for every one blockchain developer. You imagine that. Okay. That's what's going on right now. That's what's popping. I'll drop the link in the chat for you guys to get up on that. If you haven't gotten on it before, now's the time to get up on it. You're not working. We're having the pandemic right now. And, you know, take the opportunities while they're here. Okay. Engineering Cannabis is asking me a question. Do they teach coding? I don't think they teach coding in the literacy class. This is all about literacy. I don't think it teaches anything about coding. It's just a certificate of knowledge. Okay. Yes, a certificate of knowledge. It was going on Game Changer. Yeah, and see, a lot of people are not really connecting the dots for Africa. Like the article said, Africa is the fastest growing place for tech right now in the economy. Okay, 7 of the 10 fastest growing markets right now are coming from the continent of Africa. Okay. They're not coming from the United States. They're not coming from, you know, Michigan or Atlanta, Georgia. No, it's not coming from there. It's coming from the continent. Okay, the English-speaking areas of the continent of Africa are some of the fastest growing markets for blockchain, for cloud computing, for Python coding, data science. Okay, telehealth, telemedicine, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, agriculture, agri-tech. These are some of the technologies that are the fastest growing on the continent right now. Okay. Not saying you have to go there, but those are areas that are really dominating right now in terms of where the continent is moving to in 2020. Okay, I was just on the continent not too long ago at a blockchain conference, and this is the stuff that they were talking about. Okay, they're talking about cryptocurrencies and tokens. So big things are happening over there. You imagine if you were a patient and you didn't have a vehicle, and you lived in a remote village, but you had access to a smartphone, and you can leverage your smartphone for scheduling an appointment. Imagine, right, a telehealth service that sends a doctor to you or a nurse to you or a healthcare professional to you in the same way you order a pizza. Okay. The same way you order Uber Eats, you order something and then they send it to you. Imagine if someone got in a car or got on a vehicle, some form of vehicle, and came to your location to treat you for symptoms of COVID or something to that effect. Okay. These are the sort of solutions that they're looking for. Okay, so that's what's popping over there. That's what's going right now. The article kind of confirmed it. They're moving to blockchain. That the ability to move to blockchain on the continent is going to be vastly quicker than what's happening here in the United States because of all the bureaucratic red tape. Over there, they don't have bureaucratic red tape. They just do things that make sense and that works. If it works and it makes sense, they do it. They don't wait for all of these other ribbons to be cut or bureaucratic measures to be challenged. They don't have to worry about that. You have a solution that's functional and makes sense. They're going to go with the best solution possible. Okay, well, that's all the time I got for tonight, man. Please hit the like button if not already done so. Share the video if possible and hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. Shalom, everyone.